The movie begins with a very astute businessman named Damien. Damien has been diagnosed with a terminal cancer that is taking his life. Because he is so rich and powerful, Damien contacts Dr. Albright, a very well-known doctor. He gives him information about a radical medical process called shedding. The process allows the user to transplant their consciousness into a younger, healthier body. After Damien collapses due to his cancer and is put in bed, he decides to call Albright to confirm that he is willing to transplant his consciousness into another body. In the call, Albright tells him that he must leave behind everything he experienced in his original life, to start a new life. He also tells him that he must make his death public to conclude the process. After connecting some dots, Damien stages his death ready for his procedure. Damien goes to Albright's laboratory, where his conscience will be put into a healthier, younger body. Once everything is ready, Damien is loaded onto a machine next to the younger body. When the process was finished, Damien's consciousness was transferred to a new body. The next thing we see is a younger Damien, learning to walk when changing bodies. His motor skills were reset and he had to adapt to his new body. Days later, Albright prescribes medication for the various hallucinations that Damien will experience while he adapts to his new body. The new Damien begins his new life in New Orleans with a new name, Edward. He enters his new house and begins to familiarize himself with the place. He starts playing basketball with his new friends and his new neighbor, Anton. At night, Damien forgets to take his medicine and begins to hallucinate a woman and her daughter, a war, and a pumpkin-shaped water tower. Damien is scared by what happened since these hallucinations seem like memories. The next morning, young Damien tells Albright about his memories. The doctor answers that these are simple hallucinations. But Albright accidentally reveals important details that Damien didn't tell him about the supposed hallucinations. Damien starts suspecting these hallucinations are not what they seem. As a precaution, Albright decides to send young Damien to Hawaii so he could clear his mind. But Damien was still intrigued by the hallucinations and still thought they were memories. He decides to search the internet for the pumpkin-shaped water tower he saw in his hallucinations. To his surprise, it was in St. Louis. Damien heads to St. Louis to find answers. In St. Louis, young Damien arrives at the water tower, where there is also a house. He sneaks into the house, where he sees a bunch of photos and paintings that show him with his wife, Madeline. Madeline sees Damien at home and identifies him as her husband Mark, a former Marine she thought was dead. Damien starts posing as Mark and talks to Madeline to learn information. Damien finds out that he got his new body because Mark sold his body to Albright to pay for the treatment of his sick daughter. While they are both inside the house, Albright's men enter with Anton, who is also an Albright employee. They enter the house and attack Damien and Madeline. Once this is explained, Damien uses a strategy to get out of this situation before they hurt Madeline. He uses his medicines as an excuse and asks to go to the bathroom to ambush the man. After taking his medicine, Damien uses Mark's muscle memory to attack and kill the man who followed him into the bathroom. Damien fights against Albright's men and manages to leave Anton badly injured. He escapes with Madeline and they go find Mark's daughter, Anna. The three stay in a hotel on the outskirts of New Orleans to hide from Albright's men. Damien researches online about Dr. Jensen, who invented shedding. While watching videos about Jensen on the internet, Damien realizes Jensen has the same tics as Albright. He also sees Albright in the video as one of Dr. Jensen's assistants. Damien concludes that Dr. Jensen transferred his consciousness into Albright's body. While investigating, Damien hallucinates again because he has not taken his medicine and collapses on the floor. As Damien needed more medication to control his hallucinations, he and Madeline decided to return to New Orleans to visit Dr. Jensen's wife, Phyllis. But she knows nothing because she suffers from Alzheimer's, although she reveals that Albright visits her every week to bring her her favorite sweets. Damien asks her to call Albright, who quickly arrives at the house. Upon arrival, Damien confronts Albright and asks for medicine to calm his hallucinations. Albright explains to Damien that if he continues taking his medication, everything related to Mark will be erased and he will leave Madeline without her husband. But if he doesn't, Mark will take control of his body again and Damien will be completely erased. Mark takes Albright hostage and wants to take him to the laboratory when one of his men appears and attacks him. This man was Anton, who had changed bodies. Albright manages to escape while Damien and Anton are fighting. Damien manages to get out and heads to Albright's laboratory, However, Madeline realized that something was wrong with her husband thanks to Anton and decides to confront him. They both stop on the road and Damien tells the truth to Madeline, who cries and feels sad for her husband. Damien offers to help both her and her daughter. They both go to their old friend Martin's house so that he can help them send Madeline and Anna to the Caribbean and keep them safe. Damien and Madeline find Anna playing with Martin's deceased son. Tony Martin admits he transferred Tony's consciousness and that Albright men are coming for them. Damien reveals the truth behind the process and the pills, and Martin feels disgusted and guilty. Damien devises a plan for Anna and Madeline to escape through the woods while he engages in a car chase against Anton. Damien manages to free himself from Albright's men, but Anna and Madeline are captured. Damien leaves the medication to access Mark's memories to discover the location of the lab and save the girls. He finds the laboratory hidden in an abandoned warehouse. When he arrives, he is captured by Albright's men and taken to the machine to switch bodies with Anton. Mark remembers that Albright told him that the machine failed if metals were introduced into it. He escapes by using a bullet that he put in his mouth when he was captured. At the end of the body exchange process, Anton consciousness disappears. Damien pretends to be Anton to rescue Madeline and Anna. Damien kills the men once he rescues them from Albright. Martin gets to discover the hallucination pills formula and gives it to Damien once he doesn't need him. Damien burns Albright alive with a flamethrower. The three escape and Damien sends the girls to an island in the Caribbean. Later, Damien visits his daughter Claire, but Damien doesn't reveal he's inside Mark's body. Damien gives her a letter to reconcile with her and goes to the Caribbean. Damien stops taking the medications for several months so that the real Mark can recover his body so he can reunite with his family. The real Mark appears slowly and finds a video message from Damien. The story concludes with Mark finally reuniting with his family. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If not, tell us what you didn't like in the comments below. Thanks for watching.